Hi, I'm Gary Stone from Paddleboard Specialists. We're really excited to have the brand new 404 Danny Ching Monster 12.6 production race board. We weighed this board in last night after it came in. It's just under 28 pounds. It's a vacuum bagged epoxy board available in a few colors. We currently have the red and the blue in stock. We're really excited to test this against some of our favorites. You can see in the background we've got a custom bark 14-foot Dominator, which will be very similar to the production Dominator coming soon, and a Hobie Elite 12.6 27 3/4. A couple of things that we've noticed about this board right away: it has a kind of a triple rocker outline. It's got a little nose rocker, it's got a little more tail rocker than we've seen on some of the other boards. It's a little wider than 28 inches wide, and it's quite thick at 6 3/4. I haven't talked to Greg Jensen, the designer of this board, but I think part of his emphasis with the volume in the tail of the board is to get a really, really clean release even for a bigger paddler. So we're going to go out in the water and show you some video of what this board's like on the water, and we'll tell you what we think. We just got back from an hour paddle where the three of us, myself, Gary, Chris, and Scott, were out taking turns between the new 404 Danny Ching 12.6 Monster, the Hobie Elite 12.6 27 3/4, and a bark custom 14-foot Dominator that's very similar to the production board coming out in a few weeks. We were really interested in seeing how the 404 paddled, and Danny's untouchable on it. He's amazing. What we found, we're each going to share some comments. I weigh 158 pounds. At my weight, with a little coaching from Chris and Scott, we were able to determine very quickly the best position front to back on the board, so I had the cleanest release at the tail on the board. And at that point I had just a little water wrapping over the bow, and in a quick 30-second sprint, the fastest speed I was able to pull was 6.3 on the GPS. The board has a very high degree of stability. Doesn't feel like it has an absolutely amazing glide. It's a good glide, but there's a few other boards I paddled that I felt if I was just cruising, that when I got off the power would hold their speed a little better.
Hi, I'm Scott, and this is the first day I got a chance to paddle the new 404. My initial reaction was I really liked the stability. I'm a little bit bigger paddler than Gary and Chris. I weigh 220 pounds. I'm about 6 foot. And so initially the stability was really great. That's something that I look for in a board. As far as pulling through the water and speed, I felt like I was pushing quite a bit of water and it was tiring out a bit, but looking at the GPS, I was just as fast as on the Hobie board, so it might just be a little illusion that I don't feel like I'm going that fast, but I really am. Overall, I like the feel of the board and the stability. I'm still a little in favor of the bark myself, but I think this is a great board for someone who's a little smaller than me and who can really utilize the shape of it.
Hi, my name's Chris and I'm with Paddleboard Specialist, and first impressions on the 404 when we took it out, I'm about 182 pounds, and you know, we also did a little coaching to find my sweet spot on the board. The one thing that we did notice when I was paddling it was, you know, if your balance isn't quite right or you're a little bit too far back, you do eat up a lot of water in the back, and you leave quite a serious wake. But other than that, I thought it paddled really nice. It was a pretty smooth paddling board. I would agree with Gary and Scott. We just didn't have quite the glide that you would on a couple of the other boards, but overall it was a pretty nice paddle.
Back in the shop after testing the new 404 12.6 Monster production board, and you heard earlier in the video what our comments were on it after we were on the water with it. So I was able to have a discussion with the 404 designer, Greg Jensen. And what Greg said when I spoke to him kind of surprised me. He said that he really designed the 404 Monster not primarily as a flat water race board, but as a board that is really good when you get into a little bit of light chop, you get some wind swell, catch the bumps really well, do downwind really well, and more for battle to paddle, Dana Point kind of conditions. And clearly Danny Ching has done really well on it. The one other thing I wanted to note is when I was at the Outdoor Retailer show in August, I paddled one of Greg's custom 404 boards, which was about 7 or 8 pounds lighter than this board. And it, along with only 2 other models, were totally the standouts in my mind in terms of boards that had stability, tremendous glide, great acceleration, and were just all around great. And I wanted to share with you that this production board doesn't have that same kind of feel and glide that the custom one did have. And I also can't say that it's due to the 7 or 8 pounds difference in weight, because I've paddled some custom bark boards and production SurfTech bark competitor that weighed over 30 pounds, and it still had that amazing glide to it. So we really wanted to go out and do a downwinder this morning. It's gusting about 30 outside, but it was also 33 degrees, and none of us could get motivated in this cold condition to go out. So we're going to reserve our final judgment on this board until after we get a good downwind run on it and get it out in some choppier conditions, which we hope to do in the next week or so.